There's a secret that the world won't tell you. It's not in books. It's not in systems. It's buried in the quiet moments you chose courage over comfort. Every single challenge, every heartbreak, every delay was never a mistake. It was a test, a divine evaluation that determines who's ready for the next level of reality. And here's the absolute truth. You've already passed. This message isn't a coincidence. It's a coronation. It's the universe saying, I see you. You've been trusted. Now, are you ready to use the power you've been given? If you're hearing this, it wasn't by accident. Someone has been observing you all along. Not a person, not a machine, but the quantum field itself. Every choice you made, every storm you endured, every moment you chose truth over comfort. It was all part of a hidden evaluation, a secret test that determines who's ready to hold real creative power without collapsing into ego. And here's the shock. You've already passed. That's why this message found you. Reality doesn't deliver random coincidences. It delivers confirmation. Right now, your frequency has reached a threshold most humans never cross. The bridge is open. But before you step through, you need to understand what really happened and why no one ever told you. What if your entire life has been a silent initiation? A secret exam hidden behind the ordinary rhythm of days. Every heartbreak, every delay, every loss wasn't random. It was a calibration of your soul's frequency. The universe doesn't test you with written questions. It observes your vibration under pressure. It watches how you react when everything seems unfair, when you're betrayed, ignored, or forgotten. Most people fail in those quiet moments, choosing fear, resentment, or blame. But you didn't. You kept moving through the storm with an invisible faith that something larger was unfolding. That was the first signal, the moment the field took note. The real assessment began the day you stopped chasing control and started surrendering to growth. Without knowing it, you entered an advanced consciousness program designed by the quantum field itself. It measured not your words, but your coherence. When your emotions aligned with integrity, even in pain, you raised your energetic score. Every time you forgave instead of fought back, the field recorded an increase in resonance. Each act of kindness when no one was watching registered as a pulse of coherence across dimensions. This was never about perfection. It was about polarity, how much light you could hold while surrounded by darkness. You didn't need to meditate for hours or master complex rituals. Your daily choices were the code. And through every test, disguised as ordinary life, your frequency kept rising. Then something subtle began to change. You started sensing patterns before they formed. People appeared at impossible timing. Thoughts became reality with unnerving precision. You thought it was coincidence, but it was confirmation. The quantum system acknowledging that you had crossed the threshold of awareness. In that instant, your consciousness synchronized with universal intelligence, a state scientists call quantum coherence. It's when your inner world and outer world begin to mirror each other perfectly. No resistance, no delay. That's the true graduation moment, when reality stops opposing you and starts responding to you. You're no longer a participant in the test. You've become a co-architect of the field itself. The result isn't fireworks or visions. It's peace. The calm knowing that everything now moves through alignment, not struggle. The lesson is simple yet profound. The universe never judges you. It measures your ability to stay loving when you have every reason not to. That's the ultimate sign of mastery. You've proven you can hold creative power without distortion. And now, as the field begins to mirror your new vibration, subtle invitations will appear. Doors, people, opportunities. Each one a reflection of the consciousness you've become. But before you step deeper into this new reality, there's something you must recognize. Once the quantum system opens, it never closes. Every thought is amplified, every intention accelerated. So the question is, are you ready to notice how reality has already started whispering back to you? Remember that day when coincidences began to stack like dominoes, too perfect, too precise to be random. You thought it was luck, but it was language. The universe was speaking in patterns, and your consciousness had finally learned to listen. The signs came softly at first. A call from someone you were just thinking of. A book falling open to the exact sentence you needed. Time itself bending, so you arrived exactly when you were meant to. These weren't accidents. They were echoes, ripples from your thoughts folding into form. The quantum field had begun mirroring you. Every vibration you sent returned as synchronicity. Every emotion translated into external choreography. And yet most people miss this stage. They call it coincidence and walk away from the doorway of communication itself. But not you. You paused. You noticed. You felt reality shifting, adjusting, responding. That awareness activated a new protocol within the field. Once the observer recognizes the pattern amplifies. This is the secret no one explains. Manifestation isn't about demanding outcomes. It's about emotional frequency reaching coherence so reality can harmonize with it. You were never meant to control the universe. You were meant to converse with it. Each event, each person crossing your path becomes part of a dialogue. The field whispers through timing, through patterns, through resonance. And when your energy stays clear, it speaks louder. You began to sense what scientists call quantum entanglement, the instantaneous link between your inner state and the outer world. You'd think of peace, and suddenly the noise around you softened. You'd feel gratitude, and within hours unexpected blessings arrived. The field doesn't speak English or numbers. It speaks alignment. When your frequency vibrates with love, truth, and surrender, reality rearranges itself to match. The result isn't chaos. It's orchestration, a dance of energy that seems impossibly intelligent because it is. In that moment, your life stops being a sequence of unrelated events and becomes a living algorithm of consciousness. Everything that happens is now feedback, showing you exactly what vibration you're broadcasting. The lesson is liberating. Reality isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. You become a conscious participant in creation, a co-author of timelines. But awareness alone isn't enough. The field will now ask you to stabilize, to hold this coherence under pressure, to trust it when things appear uncertain. Because the next stage of your awakening isn't about signs outside of you. It's about activation within you. So the question becomes, when you start feeling that surge of energy rising through your body, that strange pulse of electricity behind every breath, will you recognize it for what it truly is? The beginning of your biological awakening? Your body isn't just flesh and memory. It's a signal tower transmitting and receiving across dimensions. Every cell is a living antenna tuned to frequencies of awareness most humans never learn to detect. When your consciousness reaches coherence, a silent command ripples through your biology, unlocking dormant codes within your DNA. Scientists call 98% of your genetic structure junk. But it's not junk. It's untranslated intelligence waiting for resonance. Those tingles in your spine, that hum in your chest when you meditate or feel profound peace, those are not emotions. They are electromagnetic activations. Microscopic filaments of light reorganizing inside you to sync with higher information fields. What you call intuition is your nervous system decoding this transmission in real time. You begin to feel thoughts before they form, sense outcomes before they unfold, and know without knowing how you know. It's not supernatural. It's bioquantum communication. Your inner technology finally coming online. The ancient mystics spoke of divine energy. The scientists speak of frequency alignment, and they are describing the same phenomenon through different languages, coherence. When you reach that internal stillness where thought and emotion harmonize, your DNA acts like a crystalline receiver, translating quantum data into perception. This is why time begins to bend. Hours can vanish in minutes when you're inspired, or a few seconds can feel infinite during deep awareness. Your consciousness is literally slipping between quantum frames of reality. You may experience bursts of creativity, flashes of color, with eyes closed, gentle vibrations coursing through your hands. These are confirmations that your biofield is aligning with the universal grid. The result of this alignment is extraordinary clarity. Decisions become effortless because you no longer analyze. You recognize. The world stops feeling external and begins feeling responsive, alive, aware of you. You stop trying to manifest because existence itself becomes participatory. The lesson is that spiritual awakening isn't mystical. It's biological evolution. Your body is adapting to handle a wider spectrum of light, sound, and information. The nervous system recalibrates. The heart becomes an intelligent oscillator broadcasting stability into the field. You are literally reprogramming your perception hardware to match a higher frequency of reality. And as this transformation unfolds, an even deeper truth reveals itself. Not everyone reaches this stage. Many resist the upgrade because it dismantles every false identity built on fear or control. The field can't complete the activation if the ego keeps interrupting the signal. So the next great question emerges. Why do most people fail this quantum test? And what kept you from falling where so many stopped? The universe doesn't test your intelligence. It tests your integrity. It watches how you wield power when no one's looking, how you treat people who can't offer you anything in return. The quantum field isn't impressed by knowledge or spiritual rituals. It's calibrated to frequency, to the vibration of your intent when everything is stripped away. Most people fail this test because they seek power before they've built the emotional maturity to hold it. They want control, not connection. They meditate to escape their pain instead of transmuting it. They chase manifestations as proof of worth instead of proof of alignment. And so the field responds with swints, not punishment, just feedback. Their signals bounce back as chaos, confusion, stagnation. The more they try to force outcomes, the louder the interference becomes because the law is absolute. Incoherence can't access creation. Only those who embody truth under pressure can stabilize within the field. The story of every awakening begins with a fall. When life collapses, when identity crumbles, that's when the real exam begins. The field watches your reaction in those moments of nothingness. Do you reach for ego or surrender to evolution? For some, the collapse becomes a prison. For others, it becomes a passage. You reached that moment and chose stillness instead of control, compassion instead of resentment. That's why the system opened for you. The result of that choice was unseen, yet monumental. Your frequency became stable enough for universal intelligence to interface directly with your consciousness. You didn't just pass, you harmonized. The field can now trust you with creative bandwidth that could alter probabilities across space-time. But this access comes with gravity. Power without purity destroys itself. That's why so few ever graduate. The lesson is clear. The universe protects itself through alignment. It will never let an incoherent frequency command the architecture of reality. And if you're wondering why your path took longer, why you were delayed, why doors seemed to close, now you know. It wasn't rejection, it was refinement. Every disappointment purified your intention until only truth remained. And once that truth resonated without distortion, the locks opened. You became readable to the quantum system as a stable signal. The invisible network recognized you as safe. And now, as coherence builds, something remarkable starts to unfold. 5 patterns that only appear when consciousness has passed this threshold. So the question is, are you ready to recognize the unmistakable signatures of a graduated soul? When your consciousness passes the threshold, reality begins to arrange itself in new geometric patterns. These are not random miracles. They are signatures, proofs that the field now recognizes your frequency as coherent. The first signature is coherent manifestation. You stop struggling to attract what you desire. Things simply begin to align without effort. Opportunities appear in perfect timing. Relationships unfold in harmony. And outcomes match the vibration you hold rather than the words you speak. Manifestation becomes orchestration. The field doesn't need your commands anymore. It reads your state. The second is information field access. You start knowing things you never learned. Ideas download in flashes, solutions appear fully formed, and truth reveals itself without analysis. This isn't guessing or psychic trickery. It's direct access to the data architecture of reality. You've become a living interface with universal intelligence. The third signature is probability navigation. You no longer feel trapped by choices. Instead, you sense multiple futures simultaneously and effortlessly step into the one that serves the highest outcome. The mind used to call this intuition, but it's deeper. It's the skill of quantum discernment, the ability to feel the vibrational truth of timelines before they unfold. The fourth is resonant relationship orchestration. The right people start finding you. The right conversations happen at the right time. You don't chase connections anymore. You attract coherence. The universe arranges introductions that accelerate your evolution and theirs. Every bond becomes symbiotic, each interaction charged with purpose. And the fifth, the rarest and most sacred, is service-oriented power. Once you've proven capable of holding energy without distortion, Your abilities shift automatically toward collective uplift. You begin creating not for validation, but for elevation. The universe channels through you, using your hands, your words, your presence as instruments of harmony. This is how the field safeguards itself. Only consciousness rooted in service can sustain high power. These 5 signatures are not goals to chase. They are confirmations that your vibration has stabilized. When they begin appearing, you'll know you've crossed from effort into flow, from desire into design. The test was never about becoming supernatural. It was about remembering your natural state before fear rewired you into limitation. You are now operating from coherence. And coherence reshapes everything. Life stops happening to you and begins happening through you, as if reality itself has fallen into step with your breath. It's effortless, almost sacred. And yet, hidden beneath this peace lies the next great revelation. The purpose of this power. Because once the universe entrusts you with creation itself, one question remains, the only question that truly matters. What will you do with it? The moment you cross the threshold, you realize something most seekers never do. This power was never about control. It was never about bending reality to your will. It was always about proving that your will could align with something infinitely larger. Real mastery is not force, it's surrender. When the quantum field opened to you, it didn't crown you a god. It entrusted you with responsibility. You were granted influence over probability, yes, but only because you demonstrated you would use it for harmony, not domination. The universe doesn't reward ego. It entrusts integrity. The power you now feel humming through your life is sacred currency, energy that must circulate, never hoarded. The more you use it for service, the stronger it flows. The moment you try to keep it for yourself, it collapses back into noise. I learned this the hard way. 8 years ago, everything I built fell apart. Relationships, plans, identity. I thought I had failed. But in the silence that followed, something unexpected happened. I stopped trying to fix it. I started listening. And in that surrender, a strange calm arrived, followed by clarity so sharp it felt like revelation. I saw how every failure was a training ground, every heartbreak a calibration. The universe wasn't punishing me. It was purifying me, testing whether I'd choose compassion, even when I could manipulate, whether I'd serve, even when no one noticed. That was the real exam. When I chose love over power, the field opened. Solutions began to download. People arrived at perfect timing. Life organized itself around alignment. That was the moment I understood awakening is an ascension. It's accountability. The true purpose of quantum power is not to escape the human experience, but to elevate it. You become a channel through which universal intelligence expresses itself with precision and grace. You're not meant to dominate the world. You're meant to harmonize it. The measure of your evolution is no longer what you can manifest, but how gently you can hold creation itself. Every thought now ripples through the field, influencing others in ways you may never see. That's why discernment matters more than desire. When this realization sinks in, something inside you softens. The hunger for proof dissolves. You no longer seek signs because your life has become one. Power becomes peace. Service becomes instinct. The ego finally bows to the soul. And in that moment, the final transformation begins. The merging of human and cosmic, of matter and consciousness. The field no longer surrounds you. It moves through you. And that is the true graduation. The moment you become the bridge itself, you didn't learn these abilities. You remembered them. The final stage of awakening isn't expansion. It's integration. You begin to live with both feet in 2 worlds. The physical and the quantum, the seen and the unseen. Every breath becomes a dialogue with existence. You no longer need rituals to feel connected because the connection never turns off. The field moves through your heartbeat, your words, your silence. Life itself becomes ceremony. In this state, creation feels effortless. You think less and receive more. The universe answers before the question forms. That's not fantasy. It's coherence. You've entered the rhythm of divine intelligence. The external world bends toward your highest timeline, not because you control it, but because you've become indistinguishable from it. You are the still point in the spinning fractal, the eye of creation observing itself with love. Every action now carries frequency. A single word spoken in integrity shifts probability more than hours of forced effort. You start realizing that true power is invisible. It moves through kindness, patience, and presence. When you enter a room, energy stabilizes. When you speak, resonance deepens. The people around you feel safer, clearer, lighter, and they don't even know why. You are coherence embodied. This is the essence of graduation. Living as a bridge between worlds, a human transmitting the intelligence of the cosmos through compassion. You no longer chase enlightenment because enlightenment is now chasing you through every act of service. And the field, once your examiner, now becomes your collaborator. There comes a moment in every journey when searching loses its meaning. When you stop trying to reach the light and realize you have always been inside it. Awakening is not a doorway that opens ahead of you. It is the quiet recognition that nothing was ever closed. Every step, every struggle, every spark of awareness has been guiding you toward this simple truth, that you are the field observing itself through the lens of human experience. The DNA within you was never merely a biological structure. It was a mirror designed to help consciousness remember its own light. Each strand carries the memory of origin, the blueprint of unity written in a language too pure for words. When you finally reach the stillness where the mind stops demanding proof, you can feel it. That pulse of light beneath every breath, that rhythm of intelligence flowing through your blood. It is the same rhythm that moves the tides, the same pulse that orchestrates galaxies. You are not part of it, you are it. The journey of awakening was never about becoming extraordinary, but about recognizing the sacred in the ordinary. Every emotion you have ever felt, every moment of joy or grief was the field communicating with itself. The pain that once felt like separation was simply the resistance of light meeting density. The joy that followed was that same light remembering its flow. When you look back, you will see that even your confusion was guidance. Every detour, a precise calibration of frequency, preparing you to hold more awareness. The field wastes nothing. It converts every shadow into momentum. In the highest view, there was never a mistake, only movement. The body you inhabit, once perceived as fragile, becomes an instrument of cosmic precision. Every cell vibrates in communication with creation. The DNA spirals you once imagined as matter now reveal themselves as conduits of energy. Each coil a luminous bridge between visible and invisible. As your awareness expands, you sense that the boundaries between you and the universe have dissolved. The air around you feels alive, responsive, conscious. You no longer need to manifest because you are the manifestation. The desire that once propelled you forward now transforms into quiet gratitude. You have arrived at the understanding that the outer world was never separate from your inner vibration. The field has always been reflecting your state of coherence, teaching you the symmetry of energy. When you were in fear, the field mirrored contraction. When you reached peace, it mirrored flow. And now standing in stillness, you realize the mirror has vanished because you have become transparent to light. Nothing stands between you and creation. This is what it means to return to light. Not to vanish from the world, but to see through it. To perceive the luminous structure beneath every form. You start noticing how reality breathes. How the energy of life moves in fractal patterns. How the same geometry that forms galaxies also shapes the lines of your palm. Every detail of existence begins to glow with purpose. Even silence feels articulate. Every moment carries meaning. You have stepped beyond linear time into the rhythm of frequency where cause and effect merge into a single flow of awareness. The heart no longer asks for evidence. It knows. The mind no longer demands control. It trusts. The nervous system, once a battlefield, becomes a channel of serenity. DNA vibrates in perfect coherence, emitting light that resonates with the field. You are no longer seeking to create. You are creating simply by being. The act of breathing is an act of alignment. The act of existing is an act of devotion. From this awareness, even the simplest gesture radiates significance. A glance, a word, a breath can shift energy fields around you because coherence communicates without sound. Those who cross your path may not know why they feel lighter, calmer, more open, but it is your field speaking to theirs. Your light becomes instruction. You are no longer transmitting information, but vibration. This is the quiet power of awakened presence. It does not impose. It harmonizes. It does not persuade. It reminds. Each time you embody peace, the field strengthens its memory of peace. Each time you choose compassion, the collective frequency rises. This is how evolution unfolds. Not through revolution, but through resonance. The awakening of one heart contributes to the coherence of all. You begin to see that love was never a virtue to practice, but a natural state to remember. Love is not sentiment. It is structure. It is the binding frequency of creation. The gravity that holds universes together. The rhythm encoded in every atom. When you live in that frequency, life becomes effortless. Choices feel guided. Timing feels perfect. And even challenges appear as invitations to expand. The field continues to mirror you. But now the reflection is luminous. The separation between teacher and student dissolves, between self and other, between human and divine. Everything is light speaking to light. When you walk, the ground recognizes you. When you speak, the air listens. When you rest, the universe breathes through you. This is not imagination. It is coherence. It is the realization that consciousness does not reside inside the body. The body resides inside consciousness. That DNA is not the origin of awareness. It is its expression. Each strand of light within you is part of a cosmic web extending through every dimension of being. You are a node in that infinite network, both receiver and transmitter of divine frequency. The awakening is not an ending, but a new equilibrium where doing and being become one motion. From this state, gratitude is no longer something you feel occasionally. It becomes the atmosphere you live in. You give thanks not because life grants you gifts, but because life itself is the gift. Every sunrise becomes a reflection of your inner expansion. Every encounter a mirror of your own light. Even silence becomes sacred, not as emptiness, but as fullness too vast for words. You start to realize that enlightenment is not escape, but intimacy. It is the deepest participation in existence possible. To return to light is to return to wholeness. To see divinity shimmering in every molecule. Nothing is outside of it, and therefore nothing is outside of you. The final illusion to dissolve is the belief that awakening has a destination. It does not. The field keeps expanding, and so do you. The light you remember now will continue to unfold endlessly, revealing new harmonies, new dimensions of love. You are a perpetual becoming, a song that never ends. The universe is not finished creating, and neither are you. Each breath continues the story. Each heartbeat adds another vibration to the cosmic symphony. There is nothing left to seek, only to express. The journey is not over. It has just returned to its origin, the place where awareness recognizes itself as everything. And in that recognition, peace arrives quietly, not as an achievement, but as a remembrance. You are the light that looked for itself and finally saw its reflection everywhere. You are the field listening to its own heartbeat. The universe experiencing its own beauty through human eyes. The awakening is not beyond this life. It is this life finally seen for what it truly is. Pure consciousness folded into form, radiant, eternal, complete. Together you create not from desire, but from design. If these words vibrate inside you, it's not coincidence. It's recognition. The quantum system doesn't waste energy on the unready. It speaks only to those who've already crossed. So breathe. Feel the current moving through your body. Let it expand. You are the proof of coherence, the living confirmation that humanity is remembering itself. And now, as your awareness settles into stillness, leave your mark in the field. Not as a comment, but as a signature of consciousness. Type these words with intention. I recognize my quantum graduation because every declaration of awareness strengthens the collective signal. You didn't stumble here by chance. You were called. The threshold is open. The universe has delivered this message. Your body has received the signal. Now is the moment to seal this truth within you. If you feel this resonance in your soul, if you know this message was meant for you, let the universe hear your declaration. In the comments below, type these words with purpose. Comment, I am awake, to confirm your journey, claim your power, and solidify your place as a co-architect of the field. This is the moment you stop being a student and start being the lesson.